of what would Spain do with Rice and this? But I'll tell you what they do. They would put...
3 of them.
They would put... Exactly. They would put Foden in there and they would put Bellingham in there. And they would figure it out.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They wouldn't worry about... And by the way, their 2 centre-backs are not the best.
No.
Right? Their back line is not... I mean, don't get me wrong, Carvajal is probably one of the best full-backs in the world. But the 2 centre-backs, it's not as if they've got Saliba and, whoever it is.
Yeah.
They haven't. So, but they're not worried. They're not so worried about that. They're worried about what... Spain are worried about what they do on the ball, worried about what they're going to do to other teams, not worrying all the time about their weakness. And England are the opposite. And I almost think these England players are almost frightened, some of them, to go and play. That's the interesting
thing, like this frightening thing. And it's always, the British press, blah, 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 Every single country has got press looking at them. You look at Brazil, Argentina, you look at those in South America. It's such an excuse.
Yeah. The British, the English media. Yeah, we have it as well. The Scottish media, they're all the same.
Yeah, everyone is going to poke holes in you, congratulate you, obviously, when you're doing well. What do we make of Harry Kane? He scored today, but it is...
I'm not having it, he's not fit. I mean, he's either fit or he's not fit.
Is this system, contrary to what he needs?
Doesn't suit him.
So then why play it if you cannot get your striker, your top scorer
but going
into
back,
the game?
Correct, but what I go back to is if you're a player, more so if you're a manager, you have to have the ability to problem solve. So on paper, you go Phil Foden, inverted, talented, Saka, brilliant, Bellingham bombing on, Harry Kane coming short. We talked about it the other day, Kane coming short, Bellingham runs in behind. Once that doesn't happen and doesn't materialise, you've got to have the ability as a player to try and do something different. But I understand from a player's point of view, especially young players, you're waiting on the manager to say, well, do you know what I might do? I might take a Saka off or a Foden off, and I might go to 4-4-2, and I might give Harry Kane Ivan Toney, or I might give him Ollie Watkins, and I might have 2 wide players, like say a Bowen or a Eza, who can do something different. That's what when you see Spain, and I'm not comparing, but when you see the 2 wide players for Spain, you can imagine Jared Bowen or Saka doing that on one side. You can imagine Eza doing the same on the other side if they're allowed to go forward. It's just shockingly bad how petrified they are to go forward, especially once they score a goal.
It's a very low, and I mean low quality performance from England. When you look at the fact that there were moments in the first half in which Denmark had literally 5 guys in a line in the back, right? Which then you just do the math. How many players do they have in the midfield? So you should be having the advantage through the midfield if you're England. Therefore, logically, one would assume you'd be able to keep the ball through the midfield and force them to come out. But your possession was so poor through the midfield, even when you had advantage in numbers, that Denmark pretty much said, we only have to have 2 guys here to win the ball back. We don't need to take chances in the back. And then once we force a turnover, then we commit the numbers forward, and now England are there all over the place. Look, there are many things that we can point out here, but just passing the ball, just passing, possessing the ball from England was really, really poor.
And you look at someone like Declan Rice, it was terrible.
Yeah, it's affecting everybody. And so Rice, but I think it's down to I think it's part of a consequence of having the wrong balance in the middle of the park, and we talked about it when he was at Arsenal. When he had Havertz in there and Odegaard, he wasn't the same player as when he had somebody else to sort of bounce off. But you look at Jude Bellingham, he had the goal against Serbia, but that was the one thing of significance he did by making that long burst and run into the box. I haven't really seen him do that again. But that's part of the issue, is it's difficult to make those runs when you're giving away possession and you're not dominating the games. When you're dominating the game, you can pick and choose when you make those runs. But Jude Bellingham, I tell you, he's found himself defending probably more than he ever did this season at Real Madrid. He's chasing back the way and he's getting frustrated. So, look.
See the Declan Rice one? He gets pigeonholed, Declan Rice, as a holding midfield player because he can do it, because he can do everything. He's done that at West Ham. And then when he went to Arsenal, he was a bit of a holding midfield player. Then Thomas Partey come in, more so Jorginho come in. And then all of a sudden that allowed him to then go forward and show everyone what he can do. If you ask Declan Rice in this championship just to be a number 6 and stand still, you're not getting the best out of the talent.
But even so, he was terrible.
He was.
He couldn't pick a pass.
Hands up, granted.
This just all seems to snowball in a direction which, once again, England fail quite spectacularly.
Well, absolutely. And look, to the point of Declan Rice, players need to make decisions on the field, right? He should be able to run by Højbjerg. Now, Højbjerg, as good a player as he may be, he can't really move all that well.
So he must have been told to sit then.
Right. And so you can get yourself on the other side of Højbjerg and receive the ball in an advanced position. Saka. Instead of dribble, cut back and pass it back again, no, how about you face up? How about you take somebody on? Force them to defend you. Put yourself in a position where you're going in a 1v1 situation that you're in isolation. Take the defender on. I would rather, as an attacking player, as a Harry Kane or whoever is playing in the middle, I'd rather see my outside guy go after a defender 2, 3, 4 times, lose the ball 3 times, but the 4th time he gets past them, now we have a goal-scoring opportunity. It's not happening. He goes touch, back. And we're seeing a lot of that from England. Touch, back. Never that way. Never penetrating. Never getting in behind. Never running in behind. And again, when you start going sideways and back, you're inviting problems because the quality of possession hasn't been good.
Southgate's got 2 problems.
Would you say Mark Gurhey was their man of the match, England? Probably.
I mean, he made one mistake and he got away when he got himself back in, but...
sad state of affairs, that, isn't it?
I mean, I think it's a 2-pronged problem for Southgate, this. And the first one could remedy itself. Second one, I don't think will. First, he's got to get his team selection correct, which he hasn't. And second, I think it's his biggest problem, is when other managers do things in a game, he's never, for me, been able to react. The best managers are not the ones that pick the best team. They're generally the ones that sit back and go, tell you what, I didn't expect him to be playing there and there, so we need to make... You speak to your coaches, we need to make adjustments. I go back to the World Cup semi-final. We all sat and watched that Croatia game, and almost every one of us who was there went, England need to get an extra man in the middle of the park. Mm-hmm. We sat and we kept saying it, and the only person that didn't see it was the England manager.